Let's jump right into today's explainer. We're looking at something pretty mind-blowing. A massive, totally invisible engine. It literally keeps our entire planet breathing. Do you ever stop and wonder how the Earth just keeps going? Century after century, never running out of air, never just grinding to a halt? Well, today we're unpacking that exact invisible machinery. And more importantly, we're going to figure out exactly where we fit into keeping it all running smoothly.
So, think about this for a second. What do the air you breathe, the dirt under your feet, and your own moral choices all have in common? I know, it kind of sounds like a riddle, right? Like, what does earth science actually have to do with personal responsibility? Well, it turns out absolutely everything is connected. Every single breath you take, every meal you eat, every choice you make, it all sends ripples out into the natural world. You can't see it happening, but it's totally undeniable.
Section 1. An invisible, balanced system. To get some context here, the source material points us to Colossians chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. It says, "All things were created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together." The idea presented here is that the Earth isn't just a bunch of random rocks and gas floating out in space. It's a beautifully designed, perfectly balanced system. Every molecule has a job. Every gust of wind matters. And because it's set up so purposefully, the argument is that it's our job, our responsibility as stewards, to really understand it and take care of it. We're co-explorers of a masterpiece.
Section 2. How the cycle works. Okay, let's lock down a definition. The carbon cycle is basically the vital system that's constantly moving carbon between the air, water, soil, and living things. Think of carbon as the ultimate building block of life. I mean, you are literally made of carbon. The graphite in your pencil? Carbon. Even diamonds are carbon. We're basically just walking, talking stardust and carbon. But this stuff doesn't just stay put. It's always on the move, traveling in this incredible, continuous loop that powers life as we know it.
Let's trace that journey. Just imagine a single carbon atom floating way up in the sky as carbon dioxide. Then, a plant steps in. Through the sheer magic of photosynthesis, a massive oak tree, or even just a tiny blade of grass, breathes in that carbon, using it to grow and store energy. Next up, a hungry animal comes along. Maybe it's a deer, or hey, maybe it's you eating a salad. You consume the plant, you take in that carbon energy. Eventually, that carbon gets breathed back out. Or, when living things pass away and decompose, that original atom goes right back into the soil or washes into the ocean, ready to start the whole magnificent relay race all over again.
Section 3. Disrupting the natural balance.
So deep underground, there are these things scientists call ancient stores. We're talking fossil fuels, coal, oil, natural gas. You can think of these like massive, super secure underground vaults that have been locking away carbon for millions and millions of years. It's basically nature's ultimate savings account. But over the last few decades, to power our modern cities and cars and factories, we've been digging all of that up and burning it in what's known as a rapid release. It's kind of staggering when you really think about it. We're taking millions of years of perfectly stored carbon and pumping it straight back into the atmosphere in the blink of an eye. And the natural cycle, it simply wasn't built to handle that kind of massive, sudden influx.
When we overwhelm the system with all that extra carbon dioxide, it throws off that original, perfectly balanced design. And we're seeing the real-world results of that. We get warming global temperatures, which shifts how our oceans behave, and that leads to stronger, way more destructive storms. The balance is completely lost. It's like the Earth is running a fever, just really struggling to process a massive spike in an element it normally handles without a problem.
Section 4. Nature's carbon sinks. Now, to understand how nature tries to fight back, we need to talk about carbon sinks. Just picture the sink in your kitchen. It catches and holds water, right? Well, a carbon sink is a natural environment that absorbs and holds on to more carbon from the atmosphere than it releases. It's literally nature's built-in giant sponge. It's actively out there trying to clean up the air, soak up all that excess carbon, and restore that beautiful, intricate balance we were just talking about.
Take this number, for example, 48 pounds. That's about the weight of a bulky microwave or a ridiculously heavy backpack. And that is exactly how much invisible carbon dioxide just one single mature tree can pull right out of the air in a single year, just by standing there, growing its leaves, doing its thing. One tree sucks an entire microwave's worth of greenhouse gas out of the sky. So planting trees isn't just about making things look nice. It is absolutely crucial, active repair work for the carbon cycle.
But trees definitely aren't doing it alone. The actual ground beneath their feet is a massive carbon sink too.
Healthy, rich soil locks carbon away safely underground. But this is exactly where our human choices become a huge deal. Things like overfarming, reckless land clearing, or massive soil erosion, that effectively rips the earth open, letting all that safely stored carbon escape straight back into the air. So our day-to-day choices about farming and managing land directly decide if the soil is going to help heal the cycle or hurt it.
And finally, let's talk about the oceans. They actually absorb an unbelievable 25% of all human carbon emissions. A full quarter of our extra carbon gets soaked up by the sea. But there's a pretty serious catch here. When the ocean takes in too much carbon dioxide, the water actually becomes acidic, kind of like a fizzy soda. And this acidification is a nightmare for delicate sea life. It can literally dissolve the shells of sea snails and totally destroy those vibrant coral reefs. The ocean is doing its absolute best to bail us out and absorb that rapid release, but we are pushing it way past its limits.
Section 5. Education, Morality, and Peace. All right, before we get a little philosophical, let's do a quick mental check. What is the carbon cycle? Can you name a natural process that removes carbon? How are humans adding to it? What is a carbon sink? And why does this delicate balance matter so much? If you can answer those, you've got the fundamental mechanics of our world locked down. You officially have the knowledge.
But here's the thing, just knowing the answers to a science test really isn't enough. The core philosophy of the source material we're looking at today from the Heroes Mart Academy Godly Learners series is that education without morality will hurt. Just think about it. What is the point of knowing all this complex science about carbon emissions and fossil fuels if we just choose to ignore it for short-term convenience or a quick profit? We can have all the data in the world, but if an educated society acts selfishly, the Earth is still going to suffer. Knowledge alone doesn't fix things. It's knowledge guided by a really strong moral compass that actually empowers us to be good caretakers of creation.
And the text points out that when we actually align our educated actions with our moral duty, there's a real reward. It references Romans chapter 8, which promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. In a modern world where it's so easy to feel anxious about the environment and the future, stepping up to be good stewards of the soil, the trees, and the oceans is supposed to bring this deep, lasting peace. You're not just trying to save the environment, you're actively participating in a much higher calling.
So, you now understand the invisible engine. You know exactly how the carbon cycle works, how human actions are disrupting it, and the amazing tools nature is using to try and heal itself. Really, the only piece missing from this perfectly balanced system is you. So the question is, will you use your education to protect the balance?